Alright, let's see what we got going. Oh, come on! Barry, I gave you one job last night, to decorate the set. This is a very important day to me, Barry. This is Robin's chapter. Come on, you have arms, I think. Oh man, look at this. There's only one picture of Robin back here. Is that gonna cut the mustard, ladies and gentlemen? I don't think so. Dijon yellow honey mustard, it's not cutting any of the mustards, Barry. Alright, we gotta do this ourselves then. Initiate Nico Robin waifu mode. This is Katakuri's Moguro, which also functions as the lever that I pull when I want to activate Nico Robin waifu mode. Yes, I actually got a lot of stuff to do, Barry. We don't have time for jokes. Okay, I'll give a jump cut for you guys, but I gotta take posters down. This is a pain, Barry. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're set. We got a Robin poster over here on my left, and we got a Robin poster over here on my right. You'd think I own more than two, but no, that's just all I got. Luffy got downgraded here to the corner, and I don't know what the hell happened to Zoro's. I had it, I took it down, I set it right over there on my desk, turned my back for 5 seconds, and he's gone, so I don't know what happened with him. Over here next to Barry, we have some Robin action figures. Yeah, action figures. She's got karate chop action, which, yeah, she could. Yeah, she does. Chopper, do not be temperamental today, Chopper, okay? This is an important day. Alright, so this will be One Piece chapter 1005, titled Demon Child, or Devil's Child, which is, of course, the epithet of Nico Robin, back here, looking very mysterious with her hands. Yes. You know, Robin doesn't get as much action as the rest of the Straw Hats. She can fight. She's awesome, right? But, you know, it's usually typically Luffy that steals the show with his giant red hawks or red rocks or whatever he's throwing in Kaido's face. And then you got Zoro with Enma, the Owazamono grade sword that was wielded by Kozuki Oden, whatever. At least Robin is finally getting some time to shine. That's all I care about. I love Frankie too, of course, but Frankie usually gets a pretty badass fight scene, like he had that against Senor Pink during Dressrosa. You know what the last really cool thing Robin did was? I was actually trying to think, like something like really badass in terms of a fight with her Devil Fruit power. I think it was the moment. I mean, okay, she did roll Big Mom off of a cliff in that combo attack with Jinbei. That was pretty sick. That was pretty cool. But the last thing she did, like, by herself, without any aid from any of the other Straw Hats or, like, a combo attack or anything, before she rolled Big Mom off the freaking stairs, that was funny, was, I think the scene in Dressrosa when Hakuba was attacking Bartolomeo and he threw up a barrier, and then Hakuba looked over and saw Robin, you know, running up the side of the cliff, and so he, like, charged at like Mach 1 to go and slice Robin, and Bartolomeo's freaking out, and even we're kind of like freaking out, like, no, Robin, no! And so, like, he hits the cliff, and he's running up the side of it, and he's about to, like, slice right into her, and then Robin, just nonchalant, just barely notices him out of the, like, the corner of her eye, is just like, oh, Cabbage Coon, and then just uses her Devil Fruit powers to grab him and restrain him like that, because Robin does that kind of stuff. You know, there's always been discussions that her Devil Fruit power was maybe nerfed a little bit after she joined the crew. You know, there was that whole thing where it's like, oh, as long as I can see it, I can grab it with my Devil Fruit ability. Southbirds, Frankie's balls, you know, whatever. You know, and so that gets kind of, you know, maybe glossed over sometimes, but that was a pretty cool moment. Also in the anime, there was like this really cool, like, unreleased soundtrack with like violin music queuing up whenever Robin did that. It was really cool, right? But no, this is it. This is Robin's chapter, and she's awesome in it, so let's just get right into it. Okay. Oh, by the way, the cover page is Katakuri eating some donuts and sharing it with some kittens and some puppies on Whole Cake Island. That's cool. I guess Katakuri decided to stay behind and watch all over the pets of Totland instead of going to Wano, so whatever. Anyway, so we start off on the 3rd floor in Black Maria's lair. She's got her little entourage there, and she's basically talking to Sanji like, hey, listen, I got places to be, okay? We know where the scabbards are at now. They're being healed by a mysterious person. Black Maria's like, hey, listen, Sanji, that reveal was like 2 weeks ago now. We were on break. I gotta get over there to defeat the scabbards and figure out who the mysterious silhouette was, okay? So can we hurry this along? Just call out for Nico Robin, and everything will be good, right? And so there was a lady that was in her entourage that had the eye tag on her face. She's also called Kaimen Lady, or Crocodile Lady, because she's a crocodile smile user. It looks like she has like a normal body, and then when it gets down down to like her ankles, it's a crocodile face. So there you go. At any rate, she's the one that's going to relay the message, okay? So she's like just reiterating it once again. No! Okay. So she's just reiterating it once again, and she's even laying out like literally her trap, like what she's going to do to capture Robin, okay? So she's like, I've laid out my webs all over this floor, all over the stairs and the floor itself. Like, so the second that you call out for Nico Robin and she arrives on this floor, she's going to get trapped in my web, and then my the members of my entourage are all just going to riddle her with tranquilizer darts and capture her, and then, you know, she'll belong to Kaido, and then Kaido can use her ability to read poneglyphs to find the One Piece and all that stuff, and so that's what's going to go down. I would argue, okay, you did manage to capture Sanji that way, but because, you know, Sanji was like very chivalrous, and he was like, oh, a woman in distress, I will charge right through with an epic fashion, and then he got caught in the spider web. I really don't think this would work for anybody that has, I don't know, eyes, you know, like you're running up the stairs and you just don't notice the giant spider webs everywhere, like covering the floor and all that stuff, but who knows. Anyway, that's Black Maria's plan. And so then she proceeds to put on some, like, brass knuckles, right? Not the weapon of choice I thought she was gonna go with. I thought, you know, Spider-Woman, I thought maybe she was gonna use venom or something, but no, she uses, brass knuckles. You know, she's like Knuckle Duster from Vigilantes here. And so she's just like, she has, remember Sanji kind of like on a cross-shaped web, so Sanji's kind of like this, like restrained with the web going vertical and horizontal, and so it's acting kind of like a trampoline. So whenever she takes the brass knuckles and like BAM, like punches Sanji in the face, it kind of like brings him back, like one of those clown things that you'd punch as a kid. It would always come back up at you. That's basically what we're working with here. And so she begins to just like pound the crap out of Sanji. Meant that in an extremely literal fashion, like BAM! BAM! And just punching the ever-loving crap out of him. We later find out in the chapter that Sanji isn't even using armament haki here, and that's not because he chooses not to. It's like more implied that because haki is something that's connected to your own willpower and your ambition, is like some translations of haki, right? Because of Sanji's chivalrous nature that he can never harm a woman, he can't throw up armament haki because he's afraid that if he does that, if he throws up haki and then Black Maria punches him, then she'll hurt her hand. So this is actually something that gets brought up later in the chapter. So, yeah, we'll get into all of that in a second, okay? But I have to continue on because this kind of all comes to a point. Anyway, so, yeah, she's, you know, punching him in the face repeatedly. Blood is spurting out, but he's not saying anything. And all of the other women in the entourage that are like, Sarahebi Sensei and everybody that's in the entourage, they're actually kind of moved by Sanji's defiance. They're actually beginning to cry and weep a little bit, like, oh my, he truly is a dedicated friend to this Nico Robin, you know? He's not crying out. He would rather die. He would rather get his face pummeled by a giant spider lady other than sell out his friend. Oh my god, this is like a true man right here. So they're actually kind of moved, right? And then so finally, there's a funny scene where after like I don't know, maybe we should start a hit count for Sanji here. He wasn't part of the count, or Black Maria, I guess more accurately, like how many hits Black Maria is getting off on Sanji here, but it's quite a few. So finally, after like, I don't know, the 10th punch in the face, Sanji's just like coughing up blood, and he's like, hey, can you stop for 5 seconds? How the hell am I supposed to say anything if you keep punching me in the face? You know, you want me to call out to Nico Robin? That's kind of hard to do when you keep punching me in the face every 2 seconds. Like, all right. So he's like, okay. Then Black Maria kind of reels back a bit, and then Sanji kind of collects himself, and he's just like, oh, jeez. Okay, let's catch my breath here for a moment. And then all the other women are like, oh, okay, so this is the moment in the screenplay where he, like, you know, shouts defiantly, like, you know, you can eat a big pile of, you know, whatever, you know, and just like, you know, you're gonna be, you know, defeated by me. I'm gonna be the one to beat you down. I'm not selling out my friends. You know, this is the moment in the play, right? And so right as they're all thinking about that, like, oh, I would rather die than sell out my friends, that's when Sanji yells at the top of his lungs, Robin! Come and save me! I'm on the 3rd floor banquet hall! And that's that. He yells out for Robin to come and save him. All of the women in the entourage are extremely surprised. The one that has, like, the super long tongue, she does, like, a face fault, like, go on! And her, tongue shoots out to, like, 3 feet. And then Black Maria herself is, like, super surprised by that, like, oh, okay, I thought this was gonna go a completely different direction. I think a lot of people had that opinion, was it not? Even myself, I would love for Robin to show up, and I knew she was going to. I just thought it was going to be under different circumstances. Hold on a second. So, as that's happening, all of the other, the people with the tags on their face, I'm just going to say it now. We find out later they're called Marys, okay? So, just, it's just simpler for me to say that other than just, like, people with the tags on their faces, okay? They're called Marys, all right? And so the Marys, all over Onigashima, the ones that are humans and the ones that are animals that have, like, the appearance of, like, cats or rats or bunny rabbits or whatever, they all relay the message like an intercom system, like it was explained, all over Onigashima. So at the same time, we cut down to the festival hall. We see Apu there using his music fruit, fighting against Drake. I think Hyorogoro is there as well, and they hear it. Then we cut over to Chopper, who's working with Miyagi, the goat mink, the doctor mink, and so they're working on the cure for the Isoni virus, and they're still hard at work on that. And they kind of paid a little bit of mind, like, because they're working on, like, a chemistry project, so they're like, oh, that's Sanji's voice. Well, we have to get back to this. We see Heat, who's a member of Kid's crew. We also see Wire as well, Heat and Wire, and they think it's rather pathetic. They think, oh my god, that's Sanji's voice. That's that guy from, that's Blackleg Sanji from the Straw Hats. He's crying out for a friend to save him. Who does that? I mean, that's pathetic. We see Beppo and the other members. We see Sachi and Penguin from the Law Pirates, the Heart Pirates. They're fighting, and they just kind of notice, like, oh, that's Sanji from the Straw Hat crew, right? So it's ringing out throughout the entirety of Onigashima. Then we see Marco fighting King. King is back in his Pteranodon form that has, like, machine guns or, like, Gatling guns or something attached to his wings. So it's kind of like Pell from Alabasta, except this probably packs a little bit more of a punch. So he's just unloading bullets into Marco, but it seems like it's not doing anything. Like, Marco is in his hybrid form and he's just throwing up his flames, and the bullets are just going through, and it honestly looks like the bullets are hitting, like, more of their own men rather than Marco. So it's just like, I'll gun you down, Phoenix Marco. And then Marco's like, you do understand I can turn into fire. Oh, okay, whatever. Foof. And then, like, the bullets are, like, traveling through the wings and just hitting the other members of the Beast Pirates. So, yeah, it looks like Marco kind of has this on lockdown. But Marco is kind of like, oh, what an interesting bunch the Straw Hats are. We see Jinbei fighting against Who's Who. Who's he fighting against? I always forget. Oh, that's right, Who's Who. Yes, we're gonna do that joke every single time, because that's the joke, alright? Alright, so what is funny, though, is the way Jinbei is kind of, like, fighting Who's Who. He's just kind of, like, has an arm up with armament haki, but he seems, like, rather lax with the whole process. He's just kind of just, like, he's like, oh, Nico Robin, they must want her because she has the knowledge, she's the devil child, she has the knowledge of Ohara and the knowledge to read the poneglyphs. They must be targeting her, definitely. But the way Jinbei thinks about that is just like, he's like, oh, hold on a second, I'm just gonna throw up armament haki to block this giant saber-toothed cat about ready to claw out my face. Ah, yes, Nico Robin, why would they be calling her? Ah, I see, because of her knowledge of poneglyphs, that makes sense. Oh, I'm sorry, I was lost in thought there for a second. So, Jinbei seems like he's got this locked down too. I don't think Jinbei's gonna have a problem here at all. Alright. We cut over to Sasaki and Frankie's fight. It's just Frankie and the Frankie Shogun still, like, kind of wrestling with the Triceratops Sasaki, and Sasaki is just kind of like, oh, it's obviously a trap, he's an idiot, for doing this, very belittling Sanji, right? And so, Nami and Usopp, we see them briefly, and Nami's response to this is very just kind of like, she's not, like, annoyed or anything. None of the Straw Hats really seem, like, upset by this. None of the Straw Hats, that's very important to mention, seem, like, agitated. Like, Sanji, what are you doing? This is obviously a trap. Did you get yourself caught and now you're crying for help? How pathetic. None of the Straw Hats respond that way. Nami responds with kind of, like, I don't even know how to describe it. I was gonna say, like, it's not even annoyance. It's just like, exasperation, maybe? That's a term. Just like, yeah, his opponent's a woman. Yeah, I figured that right away. Okay, it makes sense now. But she's not upset. She's just kind of like, yeah, it's the same thing what happened in Eni's lobby all over again. All right. But is it the same thing that happened in Eni's lobby all over again? Hold on. And so Usopp is kind of not really noticing the call. He kind of looks over and sees one of the Marys. He sees a Mary in the disguise of a cat with the tag. And so he's like, I've seen those things all around Onigashima, and the voices seem to be coming from them. What's with those things? So Usopp is very gadgety, and he knows all this stuff. And so also another spoiler, the animals that we see in this chapter are all cyborgs. They're like clockwork animals that work like as sentries, you know, traveling around Onigashima, like scanning the area. And the human Marys, the ones that we see, like Crocodile Lady and everybody, and Bao Huang, they can, convey their voices and their sight through these like clockwork cyborg animals that are like running around Onigashima. So I'm really excited for this, because I want to see Usopp capture one of these Marys and figure out it's a cyborg and maybe like tinker with them. And I was thinking maybe Robin could have done that, like sneak into the network and figure out what's going on. Usopp could totally do that too, now that we find out that they're cyborgs. Yamato explains this at the end of the chapter, but I'm just doing it now because I want to get into a discussion with something else in a second here. So yeah, Usopp capturing one of the Marys and figuring out how it works, because Frankie's a little bit preoccupied right now. I guess Usopp is too, but maybe it's possible. All right. We don't cut in to see what's going on with Luffy. They're on the roof, so I don't think they would hear this broadcast, because I don't think any of the Marys are around there on the roof, and even if they did hear it, it would have been, I mean, if they are up on the roof, they might not hear it because of all the battles that are going on up there, and we don't see what's going on with Zoro also, because he's up there. But everybody else, Brook is going to play in later, but other than that, Oda made a point to mention or show the reaction that every Straw Hat would have had to this, except for Zoro and Luffy that are fighting Kaido, and he wants to keep that a secret. So we cut back over to the 3rd floor where Black Maria's base is. We see just a healed foot, you know, just stomp down in the silhouette as they arrive at the 3rd floor. I'm like, ooh, okay, where's this going? And then we see Black Maria there, you know, doing the she's doing that. You know, a lot of anime characters do that. She's doing that. She's like, I can't believe you actually did that. I am surprised. I thought you were the type to be all chivalrous to the last minute. You would never ask for help. Certainly not from, you know, one of your friends that we're trying to capture. I told you we're literally trying to capture her and then shoot her full of tranquilizer darts, and you still just walked right into that. That's crazy. And so Sanji's like, all right, well, I called her, so let me go. And Black Maria's like, oh, no, we're not doing that. I've kind of become attached to you at this point, and you're going to become a lot like those men over there. And so we now point over to another spider web that was behind Sanji this whole time, and it's a bunch of men that are there. I guess they're members of the, like the rebellion, like samurai that were caught by Black Maria beforehand. I don't know if it was during the raid on Onigashima or earlier, but they seem like, you know, very much broken at this point, and kind of like, just like, ah, yes, Black Maria, she's perfect. She's the only one for us. We will never leave her side. You know, so they've been probably beaten up by her in a similar fashion to Sanji, and they just broke a lot earlier, right? And so Sanji's response to that, of course, is like, well, I just can't love one woman. I need to love all the ladies of the world, because it's still Sanji, right? And so at that point, Black Maria rears back to go punch him one more time. This is where Sanji explains, like, oh, I can't use my armament haki. I can't use it. If I use my armament haki, then her fist, her delicate lady fist might get injured. So I can't use it. Like, subconsciously, his body just won't do it. And so at that exact moment, Robin shows up and spanks Black Maria. Right in the face! Yeah, just giganto mono, and then BAM! Like this giant hand just shows up out of nowhere. And keep in mind, Black Maria is pretty tall. Pretty tall lady. She's a giant woman. And so, BAM! Right in the face. And then she gets knocked back. And then Robin appears looking awesome, looking like a billion berries. Okay, you need to increase this. Grand Line Review did an awesome video where he talked about like Robin's true bounty, like what it should really be when you factor everything in. Go and watch it right here. All right, but anyway, Robin shows up looking like a billion trillion berries. She's got her outfit. She looks like, ah, yes, I just made a giant arm to slap one of the Tobiropo right in the face. But yeah, it's not a big deal. Whatever. You know, it's like, yeah! And so Sanji's there, like tears are in his eyes, like, Robin, Shan, you came! And so, oh my god, Robin's line here. Oda is on fire with the lines. Okay, the one-liners are great. Robin actually does have a pretty good sense of humor. It's just like a really dark sense of humor. But here it's great. She mentions, like, you know, I've spent like half of my life in evil criminal organizations. You know, not even just Baroque works, right? Like, there was other stuff that she worked with that she was connected to pirate crews before that, right? So she's like, I worked for evil criminal organizations for like half my life. So when I see people hurt my friends, it brings out the devil in me. Oh, this is gonna be so damn badass! This is gonna be awesome! So you got a cool glare of her eye, and of course Black Maria, she's like, you dare strike me? How did you even get up here? There was like spider webs everywhere. You should have come in contact with my net. And Robin was like, oh, now she's doing it. She's like, well, I have the ability to bloom anywhere. I'm like, ah, yeah, okay. So then, oh, Brooke also shows up. I should also, okay, pause right here. Hold on a second. Oh, where did I put it? Did it fall down? Okay, hold on, I found it. Okay. All right, so, I'm obviously a Robin fan, in case you haven't, you know, clicked that together by this point. But Brooke also does get some highlights in this chapter, so I also wanted to focus on him. All right, if you guys are Brooke fans out there, you don't really care much about Robin. I mean, yeah, whatever, but okay, fine. It's just like, oh, Brooke's here! Brooke's finally getting some action, too! He shows up with Soul Solid and freezes all the damn spiderwebs and not only negates the trap, but also frees Sanji in the process, and he gets some pretty cool one-liners, too. He's like, I have freed you with the chill of hell. You know, okay, that's pretty cool. And he's a skeleton, yo-ho-ho-ho, so I wanted to have a moment to also address that, and everybody that's a Brooke fan out there, more so than a Robin fan, and be like, okay, you guys get a chapter 2. All right, that's pretty cool. So I'll put Brooke right over here. Hopefully he doesn't fall down either. It's getting kind of crowded over here today, Barry. I understand. Okay. So anyway, Brooke shows up, freezes all of the spider webs. The Black Maria's entourage is kind of like very like surprised by Brooke's appearance because he's a skeleton. So they're like, oh, it's a monster! And then Brooke looks over and like, oh, they're monsters because they all look like yokai, right? Like look at the stretchy necks and the tongues and everything. And so that was kind of a funny exchange there. They both think they're like yokai. And so then we have Sanji, and he gets down from the web and he's all beaten up, he's bloodied and everything, and he's just like, he's trying to maintain his cool a little bit. He's just like, oh, thanks. I gotta go and make sure Kinemon and the others are safe. I just couldn't win. I just had a feeling that I wouldn't be able to win that fight. And then Brooke and Robin both just turn to him and just like, yeah, we know. We know. We got that off the top there. Yeah, so Black Maria, though, she gets back up, and then she just shouts over to Sanji, like, you know, Blackleg Sanji, I won't let you leave me. And then Robin, also bringing with the fire lines, is like, really? Are those your last words? Is that your last will? You know, it's like, Sanji, I won't let you leave me. Are those your last words, really? And then we just see this shot of Robin as she's like readying another attack, as she's like raising up her arms, and it's just like her eyes are all like silhouetted out, so she just looks like really pissed off and like demonic. And as Sanji's running away as fast as he can to get away from the area, Robin turns back and just says, thank you for calling me to help you. You've made my day. And then she just winks at Sanji. And as Sanji's running away, of course, he's just like, oh, Robin, thank you, you're so hot. And then he like runs into a wall and like trips over himself, and then he leaves. And so Robin, super cute with the wink and everything. And all right. So that's that scene. Before we move on to the final part of the chapter, let's talk about that. Okay. So, how did you guys feel about that scene? Okay, because I was thinking something that would have happened is, I didn't think Sanji was going to call for Robin. I thought it was going to be a thing like Robin had already kind of infiltrated Black Maria's lair, and maybe one of the Marys or something else, or she has the ability to literally bloom anywhere, as she said in this chapter. Brooke was with her, so maybe they worked out something there. I was thinking a little bit too complicated about this. Here's something that everybody kind of needs to remember here in this particular instance. The Straw Hats are friends. They're Nakama. They trust in each other. Like, that's kind of the whole point of the damn series when you really get down to, like, the fundamentals, right? Okay, so if one of them is captured, why would it then be weird for one of them to call for help for another one to help them? You know what I mean? That was kind of a redundant statement, but you know what I mean? Like, I understand it's a shonen, and a lot of times in shonen, how the fights usually go is it's like one-on-one, Zoro's going up against Pika or whatever, or if it's going to be more than one-on-one, it might have, like, started that way, Usopp and Nami roll up to fight against Page 1 and Ulti, like, 2-on-2, okay. So it might be perceived as, I guess, cowardly or weak or something, like, for a member of the Straw Hats to call for another one to help them. But here's the thing, and this is what's different from this fight compared to the Khalifa fight, because that was both instances where Sanji had to fight a woman. And during the fight with Khalifa, we found out that he has not even so much just, like, his code. It's really something that's, like, ingrained in his upbringing with Zeph. Like, Zeph, like, beat it into Sanji at a young age. Like, you do not fight women, you do not hit women, like, never, under any circumstances, right? And we all saw how Zeph raised Sanji. Like, there were a lot of moments where Zeph had no compunctions. I mean, he was leagues better than Judge, but there were moments where Sanji was, like, working at the Baratier as a little kid, and was, like, trying to, like, skin a potato, and he messed it up, and Zeph would show up and be like Gordon Ramsay, like, look at these potatoes, I wouldn't feed these to my dog! Bam! And, like, hits Sanji in the side of the head with his peg leg, so that happened. Remember the moment during, not Fishman Island, during Arlong Park, when, he was fighting Karubi, and Karubi, like, kicked Sanji, like, straight through a cement wall, and he... Oh, it's Chopper, whatever. He kicks Sanji right through a cement wall, and then, Sanji gets back up, and he's just like, man, if that's your best kick, old man Zeph's kicks are like 100 times more deadly than those. So yeah, Sanji got, beat by Zeph quite a bit growing up. And so that might be a thing, like, physically and just psychologically, he just can't do. It's just one of those things that he can't do. Think of it similar to the way of, like, Zoro's, like, code of the sword. It's not the exact same thing, I understand. But remember back during the beginning of Wano when they were in the sumo match and those people were running out to grab Okiku and Zoro just didn't fight them back, and his reasoning for that was, like, even though they were literally, like, grabbing one of their allies and escaping, and Luffy's just like, Zoro, why didn't you attack them? And Zoro's like, I don't know, Luffy, they're, like, cutting up, like, a naked, like, sumo wrestler, that just doesn't seem right, It's like that, okay? They all have their different, in Zoro's case, it's like a code of honor. In Sanji's case, it's just his upbringing. There's just some things they can't do. And the difference is that when he was fighting Khalifa, he decided to not call for help. He was kind of in a situation at that point where he ran into, because he didn't know who he was going to run into. He runs into Khalifa's room, and he's like, okay, I have to fight Khalifa. Whew, that's not good, because I'm not going to be able to win this, because he understands. And so he doesn't call for help. Maybe it's because of his pride, or maybe it's because he doesn't want his crew to think less of him, to call for help, because it's just like, oh great, I can't fight Khalifa, but I can't call for help because, what are they going to think of me? If I do that, they're just probably going to tell me, just why didn't you just fight her and get the key and free Robin? I mean, that's what we're here to do. Don't let your chivalry get in the way here. But Sanji just chose to, like, shut all that off and just like, all right, I can't kick you, but I guess we're gonna go and fight now. And so he fights against Khalifa, gets defeated, gets knocked out of the hall and falls to the ground, and then, when he's turned into the smooth version with the soap fruit, and then Nami finds him and just like, your stupid chivalry is gonna be the death of you someday, but at the same time, Nami kind of was just like, maybe a little bit disappointed, but also kind of like, you know what, that's you. That's who you are. You can't hurt a woman. And so, okay, but like, I can't remember. I should have went back and read that chapter for this. But was there a moment where Nami said something like, next time this happens, call for help? Because that would have been something that would have connected back. But I don't recall her saying that. I think she just kind of like gave him some words of encouragement and just like, whatever, I'm going to go take care of her. Don't worry. And so then Nami goes to fight Khalifa. But at this moment, if anything else, Sanji did something different. He didn't just like, all right, well, I can't fight Black Maria, so I guess I'm just going to sit here in a spider web and get pummeled over and over and over and over again. Because at that point, he's no help to anybody, right? He's stuck in a spider web, he can't get out, and his, like, psychological thing there is he can't fight Black Maria. So it's like, well, I could call for help, but I think that's better suited just here. So here's the thing. He wasn't calling out like a coward, and he wasn't doing it because Black Maria told him to do it. Before, Sanji said, you know, never underestimate Nico Robin. Okay? And he said that because that is his nakama, that is his crew member. He knows how strong Robin is, he knows how reliable Robin is, and he's like, Robin, come and save me, I'm on the 3rd floor. He didn't say that because, like, help me, Robin, I'm just so weak! You know, he said it because, Robin, she's a woman, I can't fight her, so come up here and kick her ass, because I know you can kick her ass. Okay? And then, so Robin showed up, and then BAM! You know, so he said that out of confidence for what Robin could do, because they trust in each other as a crew, and that's exemplified when Robin shouts over to Sanji right before she's about to just go freaking demon on Black Maria. She looks over at Sanji and is just like, thank you for calling me. Thank you for trusting in me. That made my day. All right? You decided to, you realized in that instance that you could not win, that you could not fight against Black Maria, and you called for help from people you trusted. That's normal. That should be the next thing you should do. Don't let the pride, like, or shame, you know, like, hurt you in that point. You know, we need to win this war. If you're in a fight that you don't think you can win, call for help, switch out, you know, do the Pokemon, Sanji, return, go, Robin, you know, like, that's what you need to do, and that's what he did. And now, Sanji is freed to go run off and find an opponent that he can actually fight, because we know Sanji is strong, we know he can fight, it's just in these instances he can't, alright? So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go fight Jack or somebody, you know, the giant Brachiosaur dude, you know, I'm gonna go fight someone there that I know I can defeat. So there you go. I think that's fair. I think that's fine. I think that's in line with Sanji's character. And I think that's like, I mean, I threw out the idea a few chapters ago, like maybe if Oda did the writing a certain way, maybe he could spin it like, you know, Sanji decides to put his chivalry aside. But I realized, like, that would be actually fairly difficult without really just, you know, messing up the character at this point, to just discard it like that. If anything else, Oda's like, look, no, he's a chivalrous man, he won't fight women. It's just never going to happen. But in this case, at least he learned that that is his weakness. He's not going to hide it from the crew, that's his weakness. And in the future, if he ever runs into a woman and then they're the enemy and he has to fight them, he's just immediately going to be like, yeah, I can't handle this one. So sorry guys, somebody else is going to have to fight her. I'll fight someone else, but I can't fight her, okay? And I think that makes sense. All right, so then moving on to the last scene of the chapter here, a few last scenes of the chapter here, we cut over to the storeroom. I used to say this was like the back shed of Onigashima. It still is in the tower. It's just like a side room in the tower that like nobody goes into. That's where Yamato, Momo, and Shinobu are hiding with the dragon statue. And so that's when Yamato takes one of the Marys and explains that these are like robotic clockwork animals that just scurry around aimlessly Onigashima, and then the Marys that are humans can connect through them through the tags. We still don't understand what the tags are, if it's a type of ninjutsu, or science, or devil fruit power, we don't know, or observation haki, but they're robots, okay? So that's something interesting there. They also realize at that point that, like, okay, because the Marys were in the storeroom, we can't hide here anymore. They're gonna know. And so, assuredly, the door begins to get broken down by a bunch of Kaido's crew members. They have a giant battering ram about to break it down because they know Momo's in there. And that, remember, Momo is their target, first and foremost, okay? And so now we have a funny little scene where Yamato, you know, opens up their shirt and is just like, Momonosuke, you need to jump into my shirt. And just like, okay, and Momo's like, you okay? And so, we don't see it, but we assume that Momo does that, right? And then Shinobu and Yamato burst out of the room, double doors spread, Yamato with the kanabo, Shinobu with the freaking, not shuriken, the kunai knives, and just throwing them. These seem like lower level members, like waiters or pleasures. They don't seem like, you know, headliners or anything. They just break right through the opposition, and they're charging forth to find another location to, I don't know, hide, or, you know, maybe to put Momo so he's safe or whatever so they can escape, right? So that's the way that goes there. Now we cut over to the third floor of the castle, where we see Jack. Okay, so now Jack is storming through the hallways as a mammoth. He's recovered. He's still covered in bandages and everything. But remember, he's an ancient zone, and well, okay, that was more awakened zone than anything, but he might be awakened too. Who knows? That awakened zone users have like the accelerated healing factor, like the demon guards at Impel Down. You know, in the case with Jack, he doesn't resemble the demon guards, but if you were going to tell me Jack is an awakened ancient zone mammoth, I would buy that. I don't see any reason why not. At any rate, he's an ancient zone, and they're built tougher anyway, so maybe he has just an enhanced healing factor that way. He's also a fishman, so that might increase it. At any rate, he's probably not back to 100%, but he's back to the point where he can turn into a mammoth and stomp through the hallways, and now he's the one heading toward the scabbards, because Black Maria is indisposed by Robin and Brooke at the moment there. And so Jack also has a moment where he remembers Inuarashi, Nekomamuji, and Raizo from Zou and his whole failed mission there. So we're still, I think that's setting up right there. We're still going to get a fight. I was kind of upset by that a little bit. It was really cool to see the Minks all join together and fight against Jack, and Neko and Inu showed up in their Sulong and they kind of finished him off. That was really cool. But I think overall it would have been nice to see a full-fledged battle between Neko and Inu, maybe also get Carrot and Wanda in there too, plus Raizo as well, because he was part of that whole thing, to really close out that that battle that began on Zou. Alright, so it's just like, hey, you broke into our country and you ransacked it, we're gonna be the ones to finish you off. And then Raizo's like, last time I couldn't be there to fight alongside my Mink brethren, because, you know, the Kozuki clan and the Minks are sworn brothers throughout history, but I am able to fight now, so let's do this. Now, granted, they're injured too, but we'll see where that goes. If the person involved here is Toki, maybe she has a healing ability with time powers or something, kind of like Louis Leclerc from the One Piece D&D, except maybe, okay, here's something. Toki cannot turn back time, because she said that was impossible, but let's assume it was Toki. Do you think Toki might have the ability to use her time powers to accelerate the healing? Maybe that's possible, like, because the scabbards were really beat up. They all looked like unconscious. So would it be possible to go up, like, let's say, you know, Kinemon has like a massive like gash along the side of his chest, like where he got cut or something during the fight, or a burn or something from the Boro breath. Wouldn't it be possible for Toki to just use accelerated healing to just flash forward, like, you know, a couple months or whatever, so they're healed? That might be feasible to do that. I'm not really sure. Anyway, Jack and Inu and Neko and Raizo are probably going to have a fight, and that's going to be pretty cool. But now, last scene of the chapter, we cut over to the 3rd floor in Black Maria's lair, where she takes her kimono off. Calm down, we don't get to see anything from the front, okay? She has her back to Brooke and Robin, and keep in mind her lower half is a giant spider. Hold on. Am I going to have to look this up? Gravegelli. That was it. It was the Gravegelli. It was the ancient, you know, ancestor of the tarantulas. The Gravegelli. And so she has her back to them, and she kind of just takes off her kimono, kind of like this. Just like, And so her hair is very long, so it looks like her hair is going to be covering up, you know, her boobs. So, you know, it's still a shonen, ladies and gentlemen. But in addition to that, she also has a giant staff. It's not quite like Mogura, and I'm not sure how I can do this, but it's kind of like this. And so on the end of this staff that she has is a Wan Yudo. Now, if you don't know what a Wan Yudo is, it is a Japanese yokai. It is a cartwheel that has a man's face embedded in the center of it. And the story behind it is, back in the day, there was this very cruel daimyo in feudal Japan that would draw and quarter his subjects by ox cart. And so when he died, he was cursed to become a Wan Yudo, a tormented man's soul embedded into a cartwheel. Okay? If you've ever read Toriko, that is probably my favorite depiction of the Wan Yudo in manga. The Wan Yudo or the Ton Yudo that appear in Yuto Island in Toriko at the beginning of the Gourmet World arc. Those things were freaky, okay, the way that they were depicted there, okay? But yeah, it's a Japanese yokai. once again, like, are actual yokai just a thing in Wano? Because Onimaru, the fox, was a kitsune that could transform, and I know you could say, oh, it was a devil fruit power, but I don't know, it just looked like a regular kitsune to me. And now we have what looks like a legitimate Wanyudo. Like, the face, like, is the face fake? Is it a machine? Is it just a sculpture? It looks like a face, with fire and stuff coming off of it, like willow wisps and stuff, and then it's attached to this staff that Black Maria has, and so she takes off her kimono, and on her back she has a tattoo with the kanjis that read women trouble, or the dangers of women. That's the name of her brothel that existed on the side of Onigashima, on the side of the base as they were traveling around. So the name of the brothel was like women trouble, or like dangerous women, and so it obviously makes sense she's like the boss of the brothel, so she has the tattoo on her back there, also resembling like a Yakuza tattoo, also kind of deal. And so Black Maria, she's just topless with the Wanyudo staff thing, and she just turns around to Brook and Robin, and she's like, now, Nico Robin, we could do this the easy way or the hard way. Robin's like, I could stop you right there. We're doing it the hard way. No, she doesn't say that, but she's like, it's like, you can either come peacefully and, you know, work under Kaido, and, you know, he's going to, you know, you're going to be his property from now on, basically, and you belong to Kaido-sama. And then Robin's last witty retort here of the chapter is just, no thanks, I'd rather die. And then she gets ready to fight, and Brook is off to the side, just like, yo-ho-ho-ho! Was that implying to me because I'm already dead? Whatever, yo-ho-ho-ho! And so that's the end of the chapter. Just Robin looking cool, and Brook looking like Brook, and then topless Black Maria with the freaking staff, with the Wanyudo, and just like, let's do this. And I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be so cool! And hot, but also cool. Okay, oh man, alright, so... yeah, obviously, give this chapter, what's the highest number that humans can count to? Googleplex, I think. I give it 1 million, trillion, quadrillion, sextillion, nonillion, Google centillion Googleplexies out of 10. I'm a fan of Robin, okay? So, I mean, everybody, like, was messaging me, like, you know, did you read this chapter? It's a Robin chapter. I think you're gonna like this. And I'm like, yeah, I did. Okay, so, yeah, I'm really excited because beyond even that fight with Cavendish or Hakuba, because that wasn't even much of a fight in that regard, yeah, she also kind of protected Rebecca when Kiros was fighting Diamante, but that wasn't a fight, really. You know, she was definitely more of a guardian there, so that doesn't really count. Fishman Island, she fought against some lower-ranked members there, you know, so does that really count? Punk Hazard, not much there, really. Like, is the last major fight she had with, like, the PX4 from way back at, like, Sabaody? Even then, that was a group battle, you know? Okay, so going back even far, I might be forgetting something here, okay? And that would be a travesty, but let me know. I'm trying to think of, like, a one-on-one battle, or at least, because Brook is helping her out here, too. Maybe, like, a two-on-one, two-on-two kind of battle. Like, a serious battle with Robin that lasted a series of chapters. I guess you could include the PX4 battle there. But before that, she fought against Oars with the Straw Hats. She fought against Hogback and Victoria with Chopper. So that actually might have been the last one then that I'm really thinking of that wasn't like a group battle with Oars or with the Pacifista. Because ever since then, it was just like Fishman Island, like low-ranking soldiers, like who cares? It's not like she fought against like one of the officers of the Fishman Pirates or anything. And then Punk Hazard, I don't remember her fighting any serious, like she didn't fight Virgo or anybody at Punk Hazard. And then Dressrosa, it was just with Cavendish or Hakuba and then protecting Rebecca. You know, it wasn't like, you know, Robin against Diamante just one-on-one, or, you know, Robin and Kiros against Diamante two-on-one. Like, it wasn't really about that. You know, that was mainly Kiros's fight. And then, of course, that was it up until, you know, a few chapters ago where she rolled Big Mom down a flight of stairs. You know, that was like it, right? So, yeah, I'm super excited here, and I could tell Oda is excited here, too. I could tell with the one-liners and and the way he portrayed Robin in this chapter, Oda is like really excited to draw this fight. This might very well be one of the best fights in Onigashima. You know, notwithstanding with the Yonko battles, of course, but like just the Tobi-Roppo fights. I mean, the Sasaki and Frankie fight, that's going to be metal. It's already pretty metal. But this one, I have high hopes here. And then also Brook is added in too. So we get a fight with Robin and Brook. That's something we don't really see very often. I don't think we've ever really seen that, a combo fight with those two. So, yeah, let's see where this goes here. Yeah. Let's see. Other than that, I think the biggest thing we find out here is about the Marys, and then also Jack going to fight the Scabbards, so we'll, you know, connect back to that. I was a little confused with the Mary explanation. I was thinking, like, okay, the Marys, like, Yamato explains that the Marys that are, like, animals are robots. I also thought that, wait, does that mean that the humans that are the Marys are also robots or cyborgs? I don't think that was implied. I think they are humans, like, they're smile users. You know, it's just that the animals are the robots. I think that was the distinction there. But yeah, other than that, it was mostly focused on this. I'm very interested in seeing what the Gravio fruit can truly do. Also, that's probably the reason that Oda went with that very unusual hybrid form for Black Maria, where instead of turning into like an alien spider woman, it's woman from the waist up, and then, you know, like her normal body from the waist up, and then the Gravio from the bottom down. Probably for this one particular scene where she takes off the kimono. And Oda also did say in an SBS once, like, you know, can you imagine, you know, the kimono like falling off? And so there you go. There you go. Oda finally achieved his dream. So anyway, okay, we'll see what happens next chapter. There's no break next week, so this is going to be awesome. Thanks for watching, everybody. Tekking, Barry, Robin, Brooke, Robin, signing out. Later, everyone.